I went on a 9-day road trip to visit the best and most affordable rental markets around the US. Today I'm going to show you Akron, Ohio. From my initial research, here's what I expected about Akron. Its crime rate was a little bit better than most on my list, and it has been decreasing over time, so that was good. Its unemployment rate was about a 7.3, which is a little bit better than Scranton, but still average on our list. The population growth, on the other hand, was not good, a negative 8.56%, which means people were leaving there. The median home price was $85,756, which is super low, and that's exactly what I was looking for. The price to rent ratio was actually top 10 on our list, so it was one of the better places to get cash flow. Property taxes were not the best, but they're also not the worst at a 1.81%. But best of all, Ohio is a landlord-friendly state, which is a key factor in picking a location. Now, back to the road trip. So after we left Scranton, we had about 8-hour drive all the way to Akron. When we got there, we only had 3 miles left and almost lost the ability to charge. We actually stayed at an Airbnb and I had to call up the host about Wi-Fi issues. When I called her, she actually started talking about how she was an investor, so her and I connected and asked her about her experience in Akron. She seemed like she loved it there. The next morning we got up and started taking a look at some properties. Mary Markoulis, who is an agent and an investor, took us around and helped us check out some of these properties. The first duplex was asking $159,900, which probably would have rented for $1,450 total. It needed some cosmetic work, but had some good bones. Then we went to another duplex that was asking $70,000. It's a 3-1-3-1 that rents for $550 and $650 each. That's $1,200 in rent. We couldn't get in this one, but this would have nearly been a 2% rule. After that, we visited another duplex that was fully rented that was asking $98,500. It had a 2-1-2-1 on each side. This one easily met the 1% rule, with rents being at $1,225 total. Unfortunately, the next property we were gonna go see canceled on us, but that one met the 1% rule too. So many cash flowing properties on the MLS. We stopped to interview Mary to ask her a few questions about what she had thought about Akron. For someone who's never been here on the ground before and thinking about investing, what areas do you think would be good for an investor to take a look at?
I would just say for anyone getting into investing, look at the numbers. It doesn't mean it has to be an area that you would live, but if the numbers work, go for it.
What would you say is the economic drivers behind this town?
The biggest thing with Northeast Ohio is the fact that it's such a affordable place to live. We do have a lot of headquarters in the area that help with the employment because they get lower taxes than they would in other states. I mean, you've got Sherwin-Williams, Parker-Hannifin. Just the simple fact that it's low cost living, I think, is the largest economic factor.
So then if someone wants to work with you, Mary, what's the best way for them to contact you?
I'm on Facebook at, Mary Markoulis. My email's marymarkoulis@kw.com. My phone number is 330-618-2118.
After that, we grabbed some lunch and we headed to our last property, which was my favorite so far. It was on a street filled with duplexes right next to the Goodyear Blimpie. It was honestly a really nice street. It was asking $119 and rented for $1,200. Again, another 1% roll property on the MLS. As we were leaving, I had connected with another investor there and I wanted to get her opinion of what it was like on the ground, so we interviewed her as well. Here's what she had to say about Akron and the surrounding areas. For someone who has never been on the ground in this area before, a lot of the people that watch my stuff are New York, LA, San Francisco, super expensive areas.
Yeah.
What areas of Akron would you recommend that people take a look at for investors?
Akron itself, there's a lot of good neighborhoods. Highland Square is a great area. North Hill is an upcoming area in Akron, but again, there's good pockets and bad pockets. In general, the areas to stay away from are right around downtown. There's a pocket right downtown where the major businesses are. That's great, but you stray too far from that little pocket and you get into trouble pretty fast. The university is downtown, and that's a nice pocket to be in, but again, you get a few blocks away from that and it drops off pretty fast.
Okay.
If you're going to invest in Akron, you have to come see for yourself. Just looking at a Zillow map, it doesn't give you the hints you need. The Akron suburbs are fairly nice areas. Ellet is a little suburb of Akron. It's considered part of Akron, but it's a different little township.
I think that's where we saw the last duplex, like right by the Goodyear.
Yeah, that's near the
one.
Goodyear blimp.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's Ellet and then Mogador, and then you have Springfield Township, and those are great neighborhoods.
Okay.
Akron can be tricky. We invest mostly in the suburbs, and we've had a really good experience.
Okay.
The tire industry is still really big in Akron, between Goodyear and Firestone. So that's a big industry. We do have the Amazon warehouse coming in. There's one coming in Akron. There's one not too far up in Cleveland. That's bringing quite a few jobs to the area. The area has seen very stable population levels. In a lot of the suburbs, the population is increasing, which is, I think, somewhat rare for Northeast Ohio. We feel good about investing in the area and feel like a lot of the suburbs are moving in the right direction and that we're not going to experience massive population decline.
Okay. So then if someone wants to contact you, ask you questions, or follow you and see what you're up to, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so I'm fairly active on Instagram. My handle is I Dream in Blueprints. Whenever we buy a property, I'm on there every day sharing numbers, construction details, hiccups in the rehab, and I do share numbers on a lot of our rental properties there, so that's probably the best place.
So you can get really good inside scoop following you.
I try to be pretty transparent. So.
Everyone go follow Jen on IG. Okay, so here are my opinions of Akron. Akron seemed a little bit more rundown than Scranton, but it had tons of cash flowing properties that met the 1% rule at asking at a lower price than Scranton. And it was a landlord friendly state. I actually got one property under contract here right now, but we'll save that for another video. After that interview, we got back in the car and drove our way over to Columbus, Ohio for our next stop. Subscribe so you don't miss it.